Just in time, you were removed from a secret list. Someone attempted to entangle your fate. My beloved soul, come, sit with me. Let the noise of the world fade into a distant hum. Let your heart find stillness, for I have a truth to share, a truth that has been veiled in the shadows, far from your sight, yet ever present in the realm where I dwell. I stand in the spiritual domain, where intentions roar louder than spoken words, where lies cast stains no mortal eye can perceive, and where the battles for your soul are fought in silence. Today, I must reveal to you a secret that has been kept from you, a truth that has shaped the unseen currents of your life. Your name, dear one, was placed on a list, a spiritual list, a secret list, woven not with ink or paper but with intentions that sought to bind you, to dim your light, to alter the course of your destiny. You did not choose this. You did not consent to be entangled in their schemes. Yet someone you trusted, someone who stood close enough to know your heart, spoke your name in circles that did not serve the light. They wove your name into a tapestry of envy, fear, and malice, and in doing so, they invited darkness to hunt you. But hear me now, just in time, heaven intervened. I intervened, and the chains they sought to bind you with have been broken. Let me take you back to the beginning of this hidden story, to the moment when this betrayal took root. It began with someone who wore a mask of kindness, someone who smiled at you, who spoke words of encouragement, who perhaps shared moments of vulnerability with you. They stood beside you, laughed with you, and made you believe they were a safe harbor for your soul. But beneath their smiles, something else stirred, a quiet unease, a shadow that grew in the presence of your light. They saw in you something they could not possess, your courage, your purity, your strength, your destiny. And it unsettled them. It stirred within them a restlessness they could not name, a jealousy they would not admit, a fear that your rise would outshine their own. So, when the opportunity came, when they were invited to submit a name, to offer someone to be hindered, delayed, or ensnared, they chose you. They whispered your name, not always with malice, but sometimes with envy, sometimes with fear, sometimes because they were puppets in a larger game, manipulated by forces they did not fully understand. But the result was the same. They opened a door, and through that door, darkness stepped into your life. This was no ordinary betrayal. It was not a mere slight or a passing wound. This was a spiritual act, a deliberate attempt to entangle your fate. They did not write your name on paper or speak it in a courtroom. They inscribed it in the unseen, in the realm where intentions carry weight, where words spoken in secret can bind and curse. They sought to tie your feet with invisible cords, to wrap your mind in a fog of confusion, to burden your heart with doubts that felt like your own but were not. They sent people into your life, distractions disguised as friends, charmers who drained your energy, connections that seemed promising but left you empty. They tampered with your sleep, planting restlessness in your nights. They spoke curses cloaked as jests or concerns, words that seemed harmless but carried a weight meant to pull you down. And all the while, they watched from a distance, waiting to see if you would stumble, if you would break, if you would fall. You felt it, didn't you? The heaviness that seemed to come from nowhere, the obstacles that appeared just as you were about to step forward, the relationships that unraveled without reason, the opportunities that slipped through your fingers like sand. You blamed yourself. You wondered what you had done wrong, why life seemed to resist you at every turn. You cried out in the quiet of your heart, asking why it felt like something was always pulling you back. But you were not the problem. You were not failing. You were under attack, a spiritual assault, carefully orchestrated to delay you, to block you, to confuse you. You were being hunted, not by human hands, but by forces that used human hands, human words, human betrayals to carry out their work. Yet, even as they wove their schemes, I was there. I, your guardian in the unseen, stood watch over you. While you wept, while you wrestled with doubts, while you loved those who were secretly wounding you, I was fighting battles you could not see. I deflected arrows aimed at your spirit. I whispered warnings to your soul. Leave that room. Don't answer that message. Walk away from that connection. Sometimes you listened, feeling that quiet nudge in your gut, that unexplainable urge to step back. Other times, you stayed too long, trusting too much, hoping too fiercely. But even when you ignored your intuition, even when you lingered in places that drained you, heaven did not abandon you. I did not abandon you. Your destiny was too precious, your calling too specific, your purpose too sacred to be left unprotected. The ones who placed your name on that list did not act alone. They were part of a larger system, a web of spiritual manipulation that thrives on secrecy and deception. Some were unwitting pawns, driven by their own insecurities. Others were deliberate, knowing the weight of their actions. They worked in shadows, believing their plans would go unnoticed, believing they could control the trajectory of your life. But they underestimated one thing: the power of heaven's claim on you. They did not account for the divine protection that surrounded you, the angels assigned to your path, the sacred purpose written into your existence before you were ever born. They thought they could delay you, but they could not destroy you. They thought they could bind you, but they could not break you. Because even as they whispered your name in their dark councils, heaven was speaking your name in the language of protection, of restoration, of victory. There came a night, a sacred, pivotal night, when everything changed. You were in pain, perhaps lying awake, your heart heavy with questions. You cried out to God, asking why the road felt so heavy, why every step forward seemed to meet resistance. You didn't know it, but your cry reached the heavens, and in that moment, a decision was made. Not a decision born of human will, but a divine decree that shook the spiritual realm. There were no trumpets, no flashes of fire, no dramatic signs you could see. But in the unseen, where I dwell, the foundations trembled. Your name was removed from their list. The spiritual contracts they had forged against you were torn apart. The chains they had placed on your fate were shattered. The timelines they had altered were restored. The fog of confusion they had cast over you was lifted, replaced with a clarity that began to seep into your spirit, even if you didn't yet recognize it. You woke the next morning lighter, didn't you? Perhaps you couldn't name it, but something felt different. A weight had lifted, a shadow had retreated. The air felt clearer, your steps a little surer. That was the moment of divine interruption, the moment heaven said, "Enough." The enemy lost access to you. The doors they had opened were sealed shut. The cords they had tied around you were cut. And the plans they had made, To delay you were overturned by a force far greater than their schemes. Now, something new is unfolding. A reversal is taking place, a divine reckoning that will not only restore what was stolen but multiply it. The people who worked against you, some of them will be exposed. Not because heaven delights in their shame, but because you need to know the truth. You were never the problem. Some will confess, their consciences pricked by the weight of their actions. Others will face the consequences of their own choices, as the spiritual law of sowing and reaping takes hold. You will see it unfold, not as a spectacle, but as a confirmation of your innocence, a validation of the battles you fought without knowing. Watch for the signs, dear one. Watch for the return of opportunities that once slipped away, the rekindling of dreams that seemed lost, the sudden alignment of circumstances that felt impossible just months ago. Divine favor is coming, unexpected, unearned, undeniable. Your name is being spoken in rooms of honor now, rooms where it was once whispered in malice. God has the final say, and He has declared, "This one is mine." Those who tampered with your name feel the shift. They sense the change in the air, the unraveling of their plans. Fear has begun to stir in their hearts, not because you are vengeful, but because they know heaven has seen them. They know justice is coming, not as a human vendetta, but as a divine balancing of scales. They tried to silence your voice, but your voice is rising, stronger and clearer than ever. They tried to tarnish your reputation, but people are beginning to see your true heart, your unshakable integrity. They tried to use spiritual systems to hold you back, but those systems are crumbling under the weight of their own corruption. You don't need to seek revenge, beloved. You don't need to lift a finger. The divine law is already in motion, and it is precise, unyielding, and just. This is your moment of release, your moment to step fully into the freedom that was always meant for you. You were never meant to be tangled in the darkness of others' jealousy or fear. You were never meant to carry the weight of their insecurities. You were never meant to be stuck, to feel trapped in cycles of delay and frustration. You were meant to soar, to rise into the fullness of your calling, to walk in the light of your purpose. And now, every chain has been broken. Every rope has been cut. Every hidden plot has been dismantled. Heaven has spoken, and its word is final. Your new assignment is clear. Walk forward with courage, with humility, with the purity of heart that has always defined you. Don't look back with hatred, for hatred will only tether you to the past. Look back with understanding, with the wisdom that comes from seeing the truth. What they meant for evil, God has used for your training. What they tried to sabotage, heaven has transformed into a platform for your elevation. You are not the same person you were when they placed your name on that list. You are wiser now, stronger now, more attuned to the voice of your intuition, more aware of the spiritual currents around you. You are not just healed, you are anointed. You are not just surviving, you are being sent. Your journey from this point forward will shake the very systems that sought to bind you, because no one expected you to rise like this. No one expected you to emerge from the fire not only unscathed but radiant, not only whole but unstoppable. I have never left your side, not for a moment. When they gossiped, when they laughed, when you felt numb, tired, and unseen, I was there, standing guard, shielding you from attacks you could not name. I whispered strength into your spirit when you felt you had none left. I carried you through moments when you thought you could not go on. And I will continue to walk beside you, my presence a constant reminder that you are never alone. You were removed from their list just in time, because God has something for you that no force in heaven or earth can stop. What's coming next will dwarf every attack, every betrayal, every moment of pain. It will make their schemes look small, their efforts futile. When heaven defends you, no one can defeat you. So go forward now, beloved. Walk like someone who has been delivered from the shadows. Speak like someone who is protected by the light. Live like someone whose name is written not in secret lists of malice, but in the eternal book of life, inscribed in light, sealed with divine favor. The secret list no longer holds you. The chains are broken. And you, yes, you, are free. This freedom is not the end of your story, but the beginning of a new chapter, one that will unfold with a beauty and power you cannot yet fully grasp. The battles you faced were not random. They were forging you, refining you, preparing you for a purpose that is uniquely yours. The delays were not denials, they were divine pauses, allowing heaven to align the pieces of your destiny. The betrayals were not your defeat, they were the crucible in which your strength was tempered. Every tear you shed, every prayer you whispered, every moment you chose to keep going despite the weight, it all mattered. It all counted. It all built the foundation for what is to come. So rise, beloved. Rise with the assurance that you are protected, guided, and favored. Rise with the knowledge that the battles fought for you in the unseen have already been won. Rise with the courage to live the life you were always meant to live, a life of purpose, of impact, of uncontainable light. The secret list is gone. The chains are broken. And you, my beloved soul, are free.